Good afternoon, everyone. Nicholas Morgan here. Thank you very much for allowing me to present my must-read electronically. I hope you're all having a great summer. So without any further ado, I chose Talk About Teaching Leading Professional Conversations by Charlotte Danielson. And I chose this because this is an area that I feel like I really need to grow professionally, and I believe it is such an important aspect of building that leadership capacity in others. And these conversations can definitely be the foundation and an integral part of the change process at both the building and district level. As you can see, I have my complete reference here, and I'll go ahead and get into the summary. Danielson defines three different categories of professional conversations. There's formal reflective conversations, typically after a formal observation conducted for the purpose of teacher evaluation. Coaching conversations, in which a teacher invites an administrator or colleague to provide another set of eyes in providing feedback. And then just informal professional conversations that follow a principal's brief, unannounced observation of a class. And the purpose is to identify the value of meaningful professional conversations about teaching, provide all educators with a mental map and tools to these professional conversations, um, and then most of all, promote high-level learning for students and continuing learning for teachers. And Danielson claims the most powerful approach to promote teacher learning is through professional conversation. And I put in these four small graphics identifying four foundational thoughts that seem to be recurring themes throughout the text for successful professional conversations. And they are creating a vision that I think goes back to tying these conversations back to the goals of your school improvement plan or your building vision, building trust and rapport with your staff members. And I think this relates to the culture of your building and just developing those relationships with you and your colleagues is definitely a prerequisite to these having a high level of professional conversations. Making the conversations purposeful and clarifying exactly what you want to accomplish and improve upon when having these conversations. And then just maintaining positivity, being sure that you recognize all the good things that are occurring um, in the classroom or in your building and district with these conversations rather than just entirely focusing on all the aspects that need to be improved. So, one of the first things that Danielson did in the text was identify some keys to successful implementation. And as you can see in the handout, it's important to set a positive tone to the professional conversation. I think that most of us in this room that have the experience, the skill set, the knowledge, and desire to continue our education through a doctoral program, that most of these probably come rather naturally to us. However, I think these may be some good tips for some of our teacher leaders and coaches, instructional coaches that may have these same type of professional conversations. And as always, just a good reminder to all of us. But having positive body language and tone sets the tone for that conversation. I think this can simply be established by smiling a lot and just trying to keep the mood light. Building rapport, I already talked about that a little bit. Use positive presumptions as something that I think can be difficult, especially with some of those teachers that may not share the exact same philosophies that we have, but we do need to remember that they still have those positive presumptions. And then creating a safe environment for the conversation. And I think that goes back to building that relationship. That's a lot of the groundwork you lay before you actually have the professional conversation. Being consistent, I think this is can be difficult because we all have our superstars that we kind of favor a little bit across our building, but at the same time, I think we need to try to maintain a certain level of equality and consistency across our entire staff. And this is a hard line for me to always define because I also believe that you must recognize your superstars and get their input and thoughts on a variety of topics and change initiatives. Maintain confidentiality, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. Number one, you don't want to get yourself caught up in any litigation issue, and I think this goes back to building those relationships with your staff. Finally, indicating vulnerability is huge. I really try to emphasize this one because I'm rather inexperienced for having uh, a leadership position, and I try to have teachers understand what I know, that I'm definitely not perfect, but I'm just trying to do what I think is best for kids and hope that teachers have that same type of mentality. And I think it breeds more cohesion across our staff members, regardless of what your position title is, that we're all in it for kids and we're all going to make mistakes along the way. What I enjoyed the most about this book is, excuse me, is that I was able to get a good foundation and map of how to lead these professional conversations. I think I personally believe that I want the teachers to do most of the talking through these conversations, and I need to encourage that by asking questions. The number one focus of these conversations is definitely the students, and I try to tie most of these questions from the text to our sites elementary's responsive classroom approach and philosophy back to our students. By doing this, I hope that teachers won't be thinking so much about what exactly they're doing, but more of what exactly their students are doing. And as you can see, they're kind of broken down into 5 different constructs: the curriculum, pedagogy, feedback, motivation, and classroom management. I'm not going to go through and read each one of these aloud because I know you are more than capable of doing that. But Danielson provides some great information and ideas on how to formulate these questions and help them lead your professional conversations. I know Danielson outlines the 3 different environments for these um, professional conversations, but formal observations, coach conversations, and informal conversations. But I envision these conversations happening during each cycle of the KEEP evaluations in the future, particularly after the formal observations. Finally, this definitely provides as a disposition of change to these professional conversations for me and the other administrators at Sites Elementary, and along with our instructional coaches and team leaders and teacher leaders. I think it provides a roadmap and an outline of ways that we can provide more consistency with these conversations to dig deeper into specific areas based on the needs of the students in each classroom. Prior to creating this document, the teacher would be coming into my office for their KEEP conference, and I'd be wondering what I would talk to them about. Now I have this document to guide my thinking during classroom observations and can relate it to the professional conversations that will ensue. So if any of you have any questions, please feel free to email me, Nicholas Morgan, NicholasMorgan at USD475.org with any questions. Thank you, and again, have a great day.